Emma Carter rushed inside her Denver home after a long morning of errands, expecting the usual quiet. But instead, she stopped the moment she stepped into the living room. Right in the center of the wooden table was a navy blue box with a silver ribbon tied around it. The box looked simple, but it carried an energy that made her heart squeeze a little on energy she couldn't explain. It wasn't her birthday. It wasn't their anniversary. And her husband, Daniel, wasn't the type to leave random surprises unless something important was on his mind. Emma walked closer, her bag still hanging from one shoulder. The air in the room felt heavier than usual, like the box itself held a message she wasn't ready to hear. She touched the ribbon gently. It felt soft, slightly warm, as if Daniel had wrapped it just a few hours ago. Her phone buzzed, and she saw his name, Daniel, on the screen. A small nervous smile touched her lips as she answered, "Hey." Daniel's voice sounded warm, but she could hear something else behind it, something like uncertainty. "You're home." "Yes," Emma said slowly, "and I found the box." His pause lasted half a second too long. "Good. I wanted you to see it." Emma frowned slightly. For the past few months, she had felt a distance growing between them, not anger, not coldness, just the quiet space that forms when two people get too busy, too tired, and forget to share the small things. Work had been pressing Daniel from every direction, and she had been trying to manage her own job and family expectations. Their conversations had been shorter, their time together rushed, so when she saw the box, she felt hope, but also fear. Gifts from Daniel always meant something, and this one didn't feel like a simple surprise. "Daniel," Emma said softly, sitting on the couch, "what is this about?" He let out a slow breath she could hear clearly through the phone. "Before you open it, I need you to listen to me." Emma froze. His tone wasn't heavy or dark, just serious, the kind of serious that comes before a truth someone has carried too long. Her fingers rested on the lid of the box, and she swallowed. "Okay," she whispered. "I'm listening." Daniel cleared his throat. "Emma, there's something I should have told you earlier." Her stomach tightened. She didn't know why, but every part of her felt alert, awake, anxious. "Why does that sound scary?" she asked quietly. "It's not meant to be scary," Daniel said quickly, "but it's important." Emma looked around the room automatically, her eyes landing on the photo of them from years ago, Daniel lifting her laughing in the middle of a snowy street. That picture always made her chest warm. But today it reminded her of how far they had drifted from those carefree days. "What is it, Daniel?" she asked again, faster this time. He sighed. "I'll explain everything, but I need you to open the first thing inside the box. There's a note on top." Emma hesitated for a second, then pulled gently on the silver ribbon. It slid off easily. She lifted the lid and saw a small folded paper on top, just as he said. She opened it, her pulse tapping against her skin. The handwriting was Daniel's, slanted, careful, familiar. "For the woman I love, this is the beginning, not the end." Emma inhaled sharply. The words meant something. They had weight. They weren't casual. "What does that mean?" She whispered into the phone. "It means I haven't been honest about something," Daniel answered. "But not because I wanted to hurt you." Emma swallowed again. Her heartbeat grew louder. "Daniel, just tell me." He paused, then said in a soft, steady voice that made her grip the edge of the couch, "Emma, I should have told you this earlier. Things are about to change." The line went quiet for a moment, leaving her staring at the blue box, her heart racing with equal parts fear and hope. And in that silence, she realized something. This wasn't just a gift. It was the start of something she wasn't prepared for. Emma sat on the edge of the couch, her fingers still touching the navy blue box. The note from Daniel, "This is the beginning, not the end," felt heavy in her hands, heavier than it should have. Her mind spun with questions. What did he mean by beginning? What was he hiding? Her phone was still pressed to her ear, Daniel's voice soft, almost hesitant. "Emma," he said finally, after a pause that stretched too long, "there's something I've been keeping from you." Emma's stomach tightened. "What is it?" she whispered. It's I wasn't sure how to say it, he admitted. I got a job offer. A big one. In Seattle. Her heart skipped. Seattle, that was across the country. Far from Denver. Far from her. Her mind raced. And you didn't tell me? She asked, fighting to keep her voice calm. You were just going to leave. No, Daniel said quickly, almost pleading. I didn't want to hurt you. I didn't know how to tell you until I was certain. But keeping it from you was wrong. Emma felt a mix of emotions surge through her: shock, confusion, anger, and an aching sense of longing. She had trusted Daniel completely, and now a secret had suddenly appeared between them. A secret that could change everything. She clutched the box closer as if it could shield her from the storm of feelings inside. Daniel, she said softly, how could you hide something so big? I wasn't hiding it because I didn't love you, he said. His voice broke slightly. I was hiding it because I wanted to protect us. But now I see that was foolish. I should have told you the moment I knew. Emma's eyes filled with tears. She felt the tension of the past few months, the quiet distance growing between them, and the missed chances to talk, all pressing on her chest. She realized how much she had missed his presence, his words, his honesty. And now honesty had finally arrived, but it came wrapped in fear and uncertainty. I need to understand, Daniel, she said, her voice trembling. Is this really going to change us? No, he said firmly. It doesn't have to. That's why I left the box for you. The note, the gift inside. It's meant to show you that I still want us together. Honestly, openly. I don't want to make decisions without you. Emma looked at the box again. Her fingers brushed the ribbon. She wondered what could possibly be inside that could carry such weight, that could make him feel so nervous and hopeful at the same time. What is it? She asked almost in a whisper. Daniel took a deep breath. It's a choice, Emma, and a promise. The gift is more than a thing. It's a chance for us to face the truth together, to decide what we want, to start fresh if we choose. But you have to open it to see. Emma's heart pounded. She had imagined gifts before, small gestures, flowers, trinkets. Never a gift that carried this much meaning, that felt like a turning point. She hesitated, afraid of what she might discover. But curiosity and love won over. Slowly she untied the silver ribbon and lifted the lid. Inside the box was a note on top, folded neatly. Her eyes moved over Daniel's handwriting, familiar and careful. For the woman I love, this is the beginning, not the end. Emma's chest tightened. The words made her eyes water. They were simple but filled with meaning. He wasn't just giving her a gift, he was asking for her trust, asking her to step forward into something unknown. Emma? Daniel's voice brought her back. I see it, she said softly, holding the note close. But it's a lot. I'm not sure I'm ready yet. You will be, Daniel said. I just needed you to know the truth. I needed you to see that this gift, it's my way of saying I still believe in us. No lies, no secrets. Only us. Emma closed her eyes and took a deep breath. The room felt still, yet charged with emotion. She realized that the past silence, the distance, the worries, all of it had led to this moment. And now, standing on the edge of a choice. She understood something important. This was about love, about honesty, about choosing each other despite the fear of change. Her fingers lingered on the note. Her heart beat fast, unsure of what was coming next, but certain of one thing. She was ready to hear him. To face the truth, and maybe, just maybe, to take the first step toward a new beginning. Asterisk. Emma's hands trembled as she unfolded the ribbon and lifted the lid of the navy blue box. The note had told her this was the beginning, not the end, but nothing could have prepared her for what lay inside. She found 2 plane tickets, neatly placed side by side, shining like small promises in the soft morning light. One had Daniel's name printed clearly. The other her own, Seattle. Her chest tightened. She stared at the tickets, disbelief and a rush of emotions colliding inside her. 1,000 thoughts ran through her mind. How had Daniel planned this without telling her? Why hadn't he spoken sooner? And most importantly, what did it mean for them now, in this fragile moment between doubt and hope? She pressed the tickets to her chest and felt the flutter of anticipation mixed with fear. Her phone vibrated again, Daniel calling. She answered quickly. You actually opened it, Daniel said softly. Relief laced his tone, but it was tempered with nerves. I see them, Emma whispered, her voice shaking. Seattle. You're asking me to go with you? Yes, he said, but it's more than that. It's not just about the job. It's about us, Emma. This is my way of asking you to choose us, to take a chance together. I know, I hurt you by keeping it from you, but I want us to start fresh. I want honesty between us. No more silence, no more distance. Emma's mind raced. She loved Denver. Her family, her job, her life, it was all here. Moving across the country was a huge step. And yet, holding those tickets, feeling the weight of Daniel's intention, she realized this wasn't just about a job. It was about trust. It was about love. What if I say no? She asked softly, almost afraid to hear his answer. I'll stay, Daniel said without hesitation. I won't leave you, Emma. I just want us to be honest and make this choice together. But I hope you'll choose us. Tears threatened to spill down Emma's cheeks. Months of quiet arguments, missed conversations, and long work weeks, all the tension between them suddenly felt small in comparison to this moment. This moment was raw, honest, and full of love. She could feel Daniel's heart in his voice, in the way he waited patiently for her decision. Emma took a deep breath. She looked at the tickets again. They were simple, yet powerful. A symbol of possibility, of hope, of a future they could create together. She realized the gift wasn't about the tickets themselves. It was about the choice, the promise, and the trust that Daniel was extending. I don't know if I can just leave everything here, she said softly. But she swallowed hard, her voice catching. I want us. I want the us we had before the distance, before the silence. If we can rebuild that, then maybe Seattle is just the beginning. There was a long pause on the phone. Then Daniel laughed softly, a sound full of relief and happiness. Emma, that's all I wanted to hear. That's all I ever wanted. Felt the tension in her chest begin to ease. She had imagined moments like this in the past, small gestures. Romantic surprises, but never a gift that carried so much weight. It wasn't about material things. It wasn't about a job. It was about love, honesty, and the chance to choose each other again. Daniel said, finally letting herself smile through the tears. I think we can do this. I think we can try again, together. His voice was soft, almost reverent. I promise, Emma. I'll do everything I can to make this right. No more secrets. No more hiding. Just us facing the future side by side. Emma looked at the tickets once more, realizing that this moment, the choice, the honesty, the hope was already changing them. The fear of leaving Denver, the worry about the unknown, all of it faded slightly in the warmth of Daniel's words. For the first time in months, she felt safe. She felt wanted. And she felt loved in a way that reminded her why they had fallen in love in the first place. She closed the box slowly, holding the tickets tight, feeling a mix of excitement and nervous anticipation. A new chapter was beginning for them. Chapter of honesty, trust, and the chance to fall in love again. And as she looked around the quiet living room, the tension of the past months seemed to lift, leaving a soft, gentle hope in its place. For Emma, the gift had already changed everything, not because of the tickets, but because it reminded her of what truly mattered. Choosing each other, choosing love, and being brave enough to face the future together. Emma closed the navy blue box carefully, her hands still shaking from the rush of emotion. The plane tickets for Seattle sat in her palm, and for the first time in months, she felt a spark of excitement mixed with nervousness. Daniel's voice was soft over the phone, asking if she was ready to talk face to face. She glanced at the door and smiled through the lingering tears. She was ready. When Daniel arrived, he looked nervous, as if he wasn't sure what her answer would be. Emma opened the door, and for a moment they just stood there, looking at each other. The distance of months, the quiet tension, the unanswered questions. The small misunderstandings melted into the space between them. She stepped forward and took his hand. "I opened the gift," she said softly, her voice catching. Daniel's eyes lit up with relief. "And?" he asked, almost holding his breath. Emma pressed the tickets to her chest. "I'll go with you," she whispered. "But not for Seattle, not for the job. I want us the way we used to be before everything got so heavy." Daniel blinked in surprise, then smiled slowly. "Emma," his voice was full of emotion, a mixture of relief, love, and quiet awe. "That's all I ever wanted. Just us. That's why I left the gift, the tickets, to show you that we could start again together." Emma felt her heart warm. The past months had been full of quiet frustrations and small hurts, but all of that seemed to fade in this moment. This wasn't about moving cities or career opportunities. It was about trust, love, and choosing each other in a way that mattered more than anything else. I needed to see that we could still do this," Emma admitted. "That we could choose each other." Daniel nodded, squeezing her hand. Gently. "We can, Emma, and we will, I promise." But Emma had one more secret of her own. She reached into her cardigan pocket and pulled out a small envelope, feeling her pulse quicken. Daniel tilted his head, curious. "What's that?" he asked. Emma smiled softly, her eyes glistening. "My surprise," she said, handing it to him. Daniel opened it carefully, and his eyes widened as he looked at the contents. Inside was a photo of a tiny lake house tucked between trees, sunlight reflecting off the water. Emma had found it weeks ago and secretly booked it as a weekend retreat for the two of them. "I wanted us to have a place just for us," she said, her voice trembling. "A place where we could fall in love all over again before we make any big decisions. It's just one weekend to remember who we are together." Daniel looked up at her, speechless. Then a slow smile spread across his face, soft and full of awe. "Emma, you didn't have to do this," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "But thank you. This is perfect." She laughed softly, a tear rolling down her cheek. "I wanted it to be. I wanted it to remind us that we can start again, that we can choose love, even when life gets complicated." Daniel pulled her into a gentle embrace, holding her like he never wanted to let go. And for a long moment, they just stood there, feeling the warmth of each other, the quiet strength of their bond, and the hope that the future held. The tickets in her hand were no longer a source of fear. They were a promise. The surprise of the little lake house, the honesty of the gift, the choice to step forward together, it all made them realize something powerful. Love wasn't about big gestures or grand announcements. It was about small moments, honest conversations, and being brave enough to take a chance on each other again and again. Emma looked up at Daniel and smiled, her heart full. "No matter what happens in Seattle or anywhere else," she whispered, "we'll face it together." Daniel kissed her forehead softly, and in that simple gesture, Emma felt every worry, every fear, and every doubt melt away. This was their new beginning, not because of a job or a city or a box with tickets, but because they had chosen each other fully and completely, in a moment that would stay with them forever. Hand in hand, they turned toward the future, ready to step forward with hope, love, and the promise that this surprised the one she had planned. And the one he had given was only the start of a lifetime together. The past was behind them, the present was theirs, and the beginning, finally, here.